Earlier today, we saw the conclusion of the World Athletics Relay Championship in Gaborone, Botswana. It's a semi-important meet where each country has 2 opportunities to nab qualification spots for the 2027 World Athletic Championship. So naturally, most countries do send a mix of their best runners, except the US who send their B team because their rosters are just that deep. And at this meet, we saw Elaine Thompson-Herah, the fastest woman alive, take us back in time, before shutting it down with a possible hamstring problem.
Outside, Elaine Thompson-Herah, rolling back the years, the 5 times Olympic gold medalist, brings Jamaica home.
The Jamaican mixed relay team demolish and set a real world record in this newly established event.
26 goes to Jamaica in a big new world record.
And Team USA still winning the men's 4x100 with their B team anyway. But the highlight by far was the mix of storylines that came out of the men's 4x400. Australia's sprinting validation, multiple world record splits, and all resulting in the fastest 4x400 meter race in history. But what if I told you the track was actually short? Sort of. Let's get into it. So for this men's 4x400 meter final, the teams to focus on are Botswana, the defending world champions, Australia, who has a slew of rising international sprint talent and had just upset Botswana in the heats, and South Africa, who are very much the same but came third in this event at the World Championships last year. And coming around the final curve of leg 1, taking into account the staggered start, Botswana's Lee Epi barely leads, tailed closely by South Africa and Australia in the distance. But already starting off hot, Epi ran the 4th fastest opening split of all time. Heading into the second leg, at the break, the leaders become clear. Tobago breaks away, but South Africa's Pillay and Australia's Holder dig in to stay competitive. Tobago is known for his incredible 4x400 relay splits, and at this very point in time during this leg, he holds the second fastest 400 meter relay split ever, which makes what happens next even more incredible.
Strength. Tobago starting to tie up, and it will be South Africa who will go on to the 3rd leg in the lead. These 3 way clear.
At first watch, it simply looks like Tobago finally gets his comeuppance, runs out of gas, and embarrassingly sells this lead that was handed to him on a silver platter. Pillay obliterating him, and even Australia's Holder making ground. I was getting my bullying hat on. In theory, these are 2 far inferior runners. But the splits reveal Pillay had just run the fastest 400 meter split of all time, and Holder runs a top 10 himself. Even Tobago's time is really good. It's just against all odds, he was seemingly outclassed. So South Africa sits in the lead with 18-year-old Kokomo leading the charge, being hunted down by the individual 400 meter medalists Botswana's Ndori and Australia's Reynolds. And all props to the 18-year-old with a monster leg, holding off a world medalist till the very end, and Australia's Reynolds, who had an all-time leg, actually making ground on Ndori too. So somehow, heading into the final leg, against all odds, all 3 teams get the baton at the same time. A race between South Africa's Nene with a PB of 43.76, Botswana's Kebonat Shippy, the individual 400 meter world champion, with a PB of 43.53, and Australia's Murphy with a 400 meter PB of 44.81. By the numbers, well out of his depth, but he has been growing in notoriety after a 1988 200 meter right behind Gout Gout at Aussie Nationals, in which he had been heavily scrutinised for it being a fake time. And they would run shoulder to shoulder on the back stretch, Murphy trying to make his move before the final curve. But Nene and Kebonat Shippy don't make it easy for him, forcing him to stay wide, keeping Murphy out. So on the straight, down to 2, it would be Kebonat Shippy alone to prove his class and remind us why. He's the world champ, and the 400 meter world record is in danger because of him. Both the race and the times were absolutely extraordinary. 2:54.47 is teetering just outside the world record set 33 years ago by the American super team, and South Africa and Australia landing home in 2:55 low historically only puts them behind said US super team and Botswana today. 3 of the top 4 teams ever featured in this very race. But hold on, I hear you. The US is so dominant in this event, they've probably run faster than this so many other times, since World Athletics leaderboard only shows a country's single best performance. No, the leaderboard still looks like this if we count every race in history. South Africa and Australia still 5th and 6th. And all these races specifically were run in the last 2 years. So to recap, we saw Lyth Pillay run the fastest 400 meter split in a relay, and by technicality, the fastest ever 400 meter time by a human ever, splitting 42.66 to catch Tobago in League 2. Colin Kebonat-Shippey ran outside of another athlete for the majority of his league and into a 43.09, the 6th fastest 400 meter split ever. And Australia's Reece Holder, who also closed on Tobago in that same league, ran a 43.12. This single race completely rearranging the fastest 4x400 meter all-time list and the all-time 400 meter split list. It almost sounds too good to be true. And it kind of is. Firstly, as a minor detail, this meet was held at 1,000 meters altitude, and I discussed a couple videos ago how this benefits the short sprint specifically, and the 400 meter is still in that beneficial zone, so times were bound to be quick. But this quick is insanity. Look, I'm an advocate for the clock doesn't lie, but the clock may lie when human intervention is involved and they're judging splits off eyeballing a baton exchange zone. Clearly, Pillay ran fast. He made that clear by clowning Tobago, Holder close in tow as well, but for both to go top 10 all time, Pillay far and away the number one, with 400 meter PRs of 44.31 and 44.43, it just doesn't sit right with me. And when we look at everyone else's PRs on the all-time split list, well, you should understand why. Everyone but them are deep in the 43s, excluding Tobago, but he ran 19.46 in the 200 days before that 400 meter split anyway. You could argue, in theory, they could be both about to break out as athletes, and this race just so happened to be the foreshadowing. But for me to even consider that idea seriously means I have to believe in the accuracy of split times at all, which I don't, because this whole time, I've been lying to you. Opposed to what everyone else is saying online, the fastest split time didn't come from this race at all. It came from the day prior in the men's 4x400 meter heats, and people are just happy to forget about it after today's final. Firstly, in Heat 1 League 2, Brazil's Villa would fade down the home straight into an official World Athletics split, 43.02 seconds, the 3rd fastest split in history. In League 3, Australia's Matthew Hunt would lead by give or take 15 metres, get hawked down, strolled by and stared at into 42.60 seconds, the fastest 400 meter split in recorded history, and behind him, the man who actually overtook him, Kebonat-Shippey, ran a 43.09, equaling his now demoted 9th fastest split ever. And then there was also Nigeria's runner who I didn't pay much mind to in the back, who ran a 43.18. So why not just put him on the list as well? So what, we believe the final splits but not these guys? Whose splits are real? Honestly, just scrap this whole video at this point. And remember when I said the track was short? I haven't even talked about that yet. Australia in this heat, not the finals was completely fair and an even start. They started ahead of the official starting position because the officials botched the markings. Here's a nice side-by-side of their heat and final. I'm guessing that's like a 2 meter head start, and the 2:57 they ran that race is still an official time on the World Athletics leaderboard. So what can we take away from this mess? These official splits, time and time again, prove they're just estimates at best, and complete speculation at worst. What we can be sure of though, bar altitude, these finals times were historically fast. The world record they barely missed from 1993 has stood for 33 years for a reason. This US squad that year was full of demons. 3 of the 4 members, Michael Johnson, Butch Reynolds and Quincy Watts, are still in the top 10 400 meter runners of all time today. And Andrew Volman is still in the top 75, meaning the average all-time ranking of their world record squad is 21.7. While Botswana's team today, who was only 0.18 behind the world record, has an average all-time ranking of 55. And here is South Africa's and Australia's average. I do believe this up-and-coming batch of 400 meters has a lot of room for growth, but just not this much yet. And personally, I'll be keeping my eyes on Pillay, Holder, and especially Reynolds. Reynolds made ground on Ndori the world bronze medalist for darn sakes. Also can't not mention Aidan Murphy, definitely gaining some retribution from this race. That 1988 is getting more positive feedback by the day. But in my opinion, Colin Kebonat-Shippey looking around in the heats, his burst of speed to finish out this final, and a supposed split of 43.09 hovering on the outside of another athlete, he is the man to watch. I said it already, that world record is within his reach. See you all next time. Never trust split times.